We live in one of the most beautiful cities in the world. I'm so blessed and lucky to be able to call Perth my home for close to 40 years. Western Australia is blessed with an absolute abundance of mineral resources. But this blessing also carries a curse, the resource curse. What we see today, Perth, was built on the back of the iron ore and oil and gas industries. Prior to 1960, Perth wasn't like this. It was little more than a big country town. Prior to 1960, the government had an embargo on the export of iron ore, believing that there wasn't enough iron ore within Australia for our own purposes. But then in the early and mid-60s, the iron ore mines of the Pilbara started opening up, and oil and gas started flowing from the northwest. I moved to Perth in 1978 to the iron ore industry when it was a relative teenager. And like a teenager, Perth then was just discovering what it was like to be a boom city. Today, in WA, these industries are now close to 60 years old. We don't live forever, and resources won't last forever. Where your grandchildren or great-grandchildren look up and see a city with no lights on, with windows smashed, buildings crumbling, graffiti all over, and nobody around. We ride on the back of the golden goose of the resources. We don't see anything outside of that. I have benefited from that golden goose. It's given me a ringside view into the blessings and the curse. The resource curse dictates that our secondary, tertiary service industries exist because of the primary resource industry. A good chunk of our construction industry depends upon the health of the resource industry. And this flows right down to your local coffee shop. Our governments depend upon revenues from the resource industry. What bothers me is that much, if not all, of our available investment funds seem to flow to keep supporting, directly or indirectly, the resource industry, rather than funds flowing to feed new industry that aren't resource reliant. And as we all know, we suffer the booms and busts based upon commodity price cycles. The resource curse was brought home to me when I first visited Kalgoorlie in 1979. The current gold industry hadn't yet kicked in, and the nickel industry was virtually on its way out. The nickel boom of the 60s and 70s was over. The nickel mines and smelters of nearby Kambalda were shut or shutting. And driving down the main street of Kalgoorlie one morning, I was greeted with a grim vision. There, in their dusty old drab work clothes, sat men, their butts on the curb, their feet in the gutter, and their heads in their hands. They weren't drunk. They weren't waiting for the pubs to open. They were unemployed, with nowhere to go and nothing to do. I've seen this elsewhere in the world, places where there's high dependence upon their resources. California and Denver, Colorado once suffered the resource curse, but you wouldn't believe it today. So what do we have? What do we have that we can go forward with that's sustainable, that is not resource dependent? I believe that we have several world-class facilities and opportunities that we're not capitalizing on. We don't even see. It'd be like gold or diamonds buried in the ground right beneath your very feet, and you don't even know they're there. So some of these things, to me, in no particular order of importance, would be the Square Kilometre Array and Posy Supercomputer, the Cyber Center at Joondalup, the WA Academy of Performing Arts, the WA Indian Oceans Institute, and we have numerous world-class medical research facilities. All of these are overlain by our universities. But all this, it's just brick and mortar, they're facilities. We have opportunities, just amazing opportunities. For example, potential for high-value, high-acreage agriculture that can feed Asia, India, and Africa. If Israel, California, Arizona, and other places can take desert and turn it into high-value arable land, why can't we? I think of even greater importance is our capacity as Western Australia to be the renewable energy capital of the world. With our solar, our wind, wave, oceans, geothermal, we should be able to get energy costs down to near zero without long-term government subsidy. Just imagine the massive positive disruption that near zero energy can bring. Not just to us, but to the world. It would be like inventing the wheel the first time, not reinventing the wheel, inventing it. So think of these places, think of these opportunities as our competitive advantages, things that stay here, don't get bought out by overseas companies. Think of these places and opportunities as fertile ground for acorns. Acorns? What are acorns? Our acorns are our researchers and other high-knowledge workers that will help leverage these facilities and opportunities. I'd like to tell you a little story about some giant oak trees that grew from some humble acorns. Dave Evans and Ivan Sutherland were professors and the world leaders in computer graphics software in the 60s and 70s at the University of Utah in Salt Lake City. They were frustrated at the lack of computer graphics hardware with which to link their software. So in fine entrepreneurial form, they looked at their problem, they looked at the problem of others in their fields, and they created that hardware. And they built a company around it, Evans and Sutherland. Who's heard of them? Nobody. I didn't think so. But in a 5 to 10 year span, between their students and employees were 4 acorns that would go on and would create Silicon Graphics, Netscape, Halcyon, Pixar, Adobe, and Oracle. These companies' combined value far outstripped the combined total market capitalization of BHP, Rio Tinto, Woodside, and you might as well throw in a bank or two. This doesn't even count the flow-on capital to Silicon Valley to expand their tech industry. It doesn't count the other acorns or oak trees that would have grown. So we have acorns. We have lots of acorns. And how do we cultivate them? I thought about this problem. I looked at the ecosystems and programs at MIT, Stanford, Toronto, Cambridge, and I came up with the concept of CERI, the Center for Entrepreneurial Research and Innovation. We're located out in Netherlands, near the University of Western Australia, and the Medical Research Institutes and the Hospital District. My vision was to create a future of high knowledge, high-value, sustainable, export-oriented industries that remain in Western Australia and work alongside or outside of resources. So how do we do this? I work across all the universities and all our research institutes as a charitable organization. We work with our researchers and postgraduates across all disciplines. We provide scholarships to attend our programs, which begin with the entrepreneurial mindset. The mindset teaches how to think. We try to enable the researchers to back themselves, to be their own heroes, so they don't have to sit and write papers. They are the best ones to leverage their research or their ideas out of the lab and into the real world. Entrepreneurship is about solving other people's problems and doing it as a team. Innovation is not just creation, but the commercialization. So we take them through the process of forming a startup company and looking at all aspects of what can leverage success or lead to failure. We try to give them the tools with mentoring and experts in residence so that they have the power to go and make their own change. We provide individual startup offices, and some of the startup groups that we have is a stem cell therapy that cures Crohn's disease, a blood test for melanoma, fiber optics as a sensor, nanotechnology across several applications, and crop yield enhancement technologies. We don't play favorites. We don't know what the new thing will be. We don't know which acorns will grow into oak trees. We spread our bets. My vision is to create a future that our grandchildren and beyond will be proud of. What is your vision? Will your grandchildren say thank you? Or will they look up and see a city with no lights on? So what are we going to do about it? What are you going to do about it? The resource curse is not someone else's problem. It's not the government's problem. It's my problem. It's your problem. It's your problem, and it's your problem. What are we going to do about it? Are we going to still ride that back to that one golden goose? Or are we going to go out and create a paddock full of new golden geese? We are the lucky country, but we can't continue to expect to roll sixes forever. As we teach in the entrepreneurial mindset, stop thinking about it and just start your journey to a better future and creating a positive legacy for generations to come. Thank you.